I watch the planet burn from space. I'm a fire scientist, and I study the diversity and distribution of fire on Earth so we can better manage and adapt. We live on the only planet with fire, as far as we know, and I would argue that we're defined by it. We are the fire species. We put fire in a box. We've put it in our cars, our fireplaces, our stoves. We even have a combustion-dependent economy. But we don't completely control fire. We are vulnerable to it. And fire is changing. We are seeing more and more wildfires each year, and they're costing us. My own work shows that fires have increased in the western US by 350% since the 1980s. We spent $3 billion last year fighting wildfires, and we suffered $18 billion in damages and dozens of lives lost. But this wasn't always our fire situation. In the 1880s, it was the eastern US that was on fire. As a result of land use and frontier expansion, fire was a tool. One of the key questions we are left with today is how are we going to live with fire and changing fire? People have fundamentally altered fire on the planet, and we have been doing this for tens of thousands of years, if not millions. Our early hominid ancestors used fire over 1 million years ago, based on evidence from caves in South Africa. We are intimately connected to fire. Now, there are 3 critical ingredients: a warm and dry climate, fuels to burn, and ignition source. And I study how we're changing all 3 of those. In the western US, there's been a 2 degree Fahrenheit increase in temperature. Snowmelt happens about a month earlier, and we consequently have a fire season that's about 3 months longer. And this has had important impacts in terms of the number of large fires that we see. We see 100 large fires today for every 20 that we saw in the 1970s. And we also change fuels. We fragment, we farm, we build cities, we introduce invasive grasses. All of these things change fuels. I've studied this grass, in particular, cheatgrass, which doubles the amount of fire activity compared to any native vegetation. I've also led one of the largest experimental burns in the tropics, where we were able to convert a tropical rainforest to a novel grassland based on an influx of seeds from pasture expansion. And we also changed the distribution and timing of ignitions. People started 84% of our wildfires in the last 2 decades. Are they really wild? Which day of the year do you think has the most number of wildfires? July 4th. Our Independence Day celebrations are concurrent with national wildfire activity. So while climate, fuels, and ignitions are changing, we are also putting more and more homes literally in the line of fire. 1.8 million homes today are at high fire risk. And the wildland-urban interface, which is where homes intermingle with flammable vegetation, is expected to double by 2030. So what can we do? We can build better, and we can burn better. We can build our homes in a more fire-wise way, which constitutes using building materials that are less flammable, landscaping to reduce fuels, and building our communities in a way where we increase fire breaks. And we can also think about national scale policies. We have floodplain maps, but why don't we have fire escape maps on a national scale? We can also burn better. We can use fire to fight fire and let it do the good work in the landscape that it was meant to do when and where that's possible. And science can help. There are over a dozen satellites right now circling the Earth, capturing information about fire and its effects. This is a unique moment in the history of science. In fact, we can calculate anywhere in the world what the likelihood is of fire happening in that location. There are solutions in this mountain of data, and we need to train the next generation to be data savvy and insight ready so they can help us better live with fire. Thank you.